My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Sting. And I had no idea this movie existed until my brother told me about it a bit ago. Nobody's talking about it. There is zero marketing behind it, and it's a real shame because I really liked this movie. In fact, I think it is one of the best movies of the year so far. And I just wish that it was getting a fraction of the attention it deserves. It's a whole movie about an alien spider, and it is perfectly structured. Like, the movie begins, and the spider is small, but then it gets bigger and bigger and deadlier and deadlier until you've got this giant evil spider for the last act, and it's just handled to perfection. The structure of this movie is really effective, and I just love it when a movie escalates ever so perfectly. Pacing wise, this movie flies by. It's like 90 minutes long, and I didn't even feel it. Then we get the setting of this apartment building, and I think it is so incredibly well utilized. I love how the vents are big so humans can go in them, and then giant evil spiders can go in them. That was handled incredibly well. I thought getting to know the different characters throughout was really well done. And I think this movie has wonderful practical effects. It reminded me of an 80s horror movie in the best way possible. And it didn't remind me of something like The Fly or The Blob, but something more like Aliens. Well, it's just simple practical effects, but it enhances the movie. I always talk about how movies aren't as slimy as they used to be, and this movie is filled with slime and ooze and goo, and I loved it. It just adds so much creepiness to this movie. And this movie can be brutal. Like, there are some moments that really go for it, and I found really effective. And I wasn't expecting the movie to get as dark as it does. There was one moment in the last act, and I'm like, oh shit, they're going for it. And yeah, the last act of this movie is just perfection. Like, I loved it. The first two acts I enjoy, I like. I've got some issues with them, which I'll get into later, but I still really liked the first two acts. The last act just fully delivered for me. It was tense. I was on the edge of my seat. It was just incredible. I loved it. I also love the way the movie begins. Like, it has a very unique opening. And it's very smart. Like, between this movie and Thanksgiving, I like the fact that filmmakers are thinking outside the box. Um, yeah, and the opening credits are really great because you see the small spider in a dollhouse, so it looks huge by comparison, which is like foreshadowing for later in the movie. That's done incredibly well. Just the directing in general by Roache-Turner was great. Like, like the movie just really well made. He directed Wormwood, which I didn't like, but I was impressed by his filmmaking here. The cast, I think, does a good job for the most part. Ala Brown, I think, carries this movie incredibly well. She has plenty of screen presence. Ryan Cole, I think, does a pretty good job as well. I like the little nuances he brings to his character. Jermaine Fowler, I thought, was very entertaining. Danny Kim brings a unique presence to this movie, but it worked for me. So, yeah, my issues with this movie, though, is the character drama. There's some stuff that worked for me, like the stepfather trying to connect with his daughter and how they bond over these comic books. That worked. It does get a little too over the top in one moment specifically, but for the most part, that worked for me. The wife character did not. She was very unlikable and unpleasant, and yeah, I feel like they could have done better there. The rest of the supporting cast is pretty poorly done. There's one character especially who looks like a witch who I didn't like at all. She was just a mean, nasty person, and she doesn't add anything to the movie, and they don't use her enough, so yeah. But yeah, this is a movie that starts off good and it progressively gets better. It progressively gets more tense. It progressively gets more brutal. It progressively gets more engaging. It's just a movie that escalates ever so perfectly. It's a wonderful creature feature, great practical effects, a great last act. And yeah, this is a movie I could see myself showing all my brothers. Like, it is just, I really had fun with it. In fact, I kind of feel bad that I'm not going higher with my rating. You know what? Screw it. I'm changing my rating last second. I'm gonna go ahead and give Sting an 8 out of 10. I don't give a shit. I loved this movie. I had so much fun. It might be flawed, but this is going to be a movie I revisit plenty. So, have you seen Sting? What did you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos soon. And Gavin, out.